Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host Jum. Today, for this, while releasing this Christmas Day, which is very ironic, we're talking about The First Omen. Obviously the prequel to The Omen from the 70s, but yeah, as I said before, horror has been doing very well this year. Horror and sci-fi, with the exception of Borderlands, like sci-fi and horror go hand in hand well together.
Yeah.
Yay, Borderlands is special. But we're not talking about that anymore.
Yep. We're done.
Yeah. We're talking about this really good movie that came out earlier in the year. It came out Holy Week, ironically, out of all weeks. So I'm like, interesting.
Very appropriate.
Yeah.
I like that.
But yeah, if you've seen The Omen, you know how events play out. And I was always curious of like, how the fuck do you make this happen? Like, how are you like, would you like to adopt the Antichrist, please? And they're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, of course they didn't.
They didn't market it the child like that, but it's interesting. I do believe most of the critics or people this year who say one of the reasons why horror has done so well is the strong female leads of these horror movies. Like you got Kaylee Spaney, Alien Romulus. You got I forgot her name, but the lead of Longlegs, and like we're gonna do a couple this week, but like Nell Tiger Fee as Margaret is pretty great as the lead, and like her eyes into this world of The Omen, which is Rome in the 70s. I think I said this before, I do like the 70s style when it comes to like just clothes and fashion. Like that dance scene, that club scene, I was like, damn, the 70s was something else.
Oh yeah, that I was like, not gonna. I was kind of like, okay. There's something mischievous here, but I'm like, alright, I'm into it. But, yeah, we got like a star-studded cast too. Like we got Bill Nye here.
Charles Dance.
We also got sorry.
Charles Dance, Tywin Lannister for a small bit.
Yeah, and, like a pipe like fell on his head or something.
Yeah. Hey, like, are you okay, sir? He's like, it's just a flesh wound. It's fine. And you're just like,
like the camera pans to his back.
Yeah. Well, so we got Ralph Ineson, who is the future voice of Galactus in Fantastic Four. So get ready to hear that voice.
Fitting.
Yeah. But yeah, Margaret is like in this, I guess, non-exchange program, or like whatever it is. I'm like, I don't know. They did that in the Catholic Church.
I didn't know either. I didn't know they had scholarships for those things. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, she got like from Massachusetts all the way to Rome.
Yeah.
Like she's here, and then yeah, it starts to get like a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Like you're starting to see like this like weird nun that like goes around, has a weird smile.
Yeah.
Her other friend is a little too liberated. I don't know. She likes to go out in clubs and wear skimpy outfits, but even though she is a nun.
Yeah.
And like, well, there is a reason for that. And she meets up with what was the name of the little girl?
Carlita.
Carlita. Yeah, she meets up with this character who is pretty much kind of like the same character as Damien from the First Omen, who has like the symbol, but she has it somewhere.
Yeah.
We don't know, but there's something wrong with her.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's some devilish shit that's happening.
Yeah. After the club scene where like, I guess the scares happen after this, and there's no abrupt scares, except for that one scene in the room where she just spans over and the curtain blows and a nun is like, and like, oh fuck you.
Nothing scarier than a nun. My mom would agree.
Alright.
Yeah. Went to an all-girl school, man.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the nun who just keeps following them around with a weird smile, you're like, I feel like something's gonna come up with her, and like it does, like, and how in the first movie that one nanny offs herself, and you're like, oh damn.
Yeah, it was pretty much almost the exact same way, but instead of like just a simple hang, she did it with a little flash.
Yeah.
You know, with a bit of kerosene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, lordy.
Yeah.
And which is just like, everybody was having a good time. Why'd you gotta do this? You know?
Right. Also, Margaret, which says a bird, and you're like, as she going through complications, and you see what comes out of it. And I almost had the same reaction as her, being like, "Holy fuck, what the fuck is that supposed to be?"
Right? I was like, is this supposed to be like a message? Is this supposed to be like a hallucination? I don't know. Is this really happening?
Yeah.
I feel like that's why we're like kind of connected to her in a certain way, because they did say that like when she was younger she had hallucinations.
Yeah.
So even on our end, even though we're supposed to be in her shoes, we're also kind of confused on what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Well, because of in the beginning with that woman at the start who gets, like, she's on the table and some creature grabs her. And I'm like, what's that supposed to be? Can you explain that?
No, thank you. I don't want that.
Right. And you find out, like, from Ralph Innocence. He's the priest in the Omen who eats pipe in the middle of the movie.
Who eats what?
Remember the priest who gets stabbed by the rod in the Omen? And this is the same character.
Right, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So like him seeing Charles dance his fate, I'm like, yeah, you're gonna eat that soon in the future in America, not in Rome.
Yeah.
But yeah, he tells Margaret, like, there are two churches: one who follows Christ, one who actively wants to control people, and the way to control people is by fear. And how do you do that? You, like, push forward the date of the birth of the Antichrist. And I'm like, is that how you do that? Is that the mythos that they're like, let's push forward the book of Revelation? It's too slow for us.
Yeah, they kind of just a little, like, overcorrected a little too much. Not gonna lie, this is hella creepy. Like even in Rome, where like there's a lot of like high figures that are like in the Vatican and stuff like that. Like the whole concept of this entire movie is like, oh, there's probably an Antichrist within their midst, kind of deal.
Yeah, and like to know that this church is actively being like, the apocalypse is too far away. It's 1,000 years too far away. How about now?
Well, let's kind of wrap it up,
Yeah. Like the 70s are already crazy. You look at the young people, they don't like us. Nobody likes us. I guess we'll make our own order. And you're like the fact that it brings more context to why, like, Damien's the way he is. You're like, oh, he's a lab-made Antichrist. Interesting.
Yeah, pretty much. I love that whole story. Like the entire origin of it, then like how it connects to the first one. But yeah, like you're going through the files and it's like seeing that there's they did this a shit ton of times.
Yeah.
Like this entire whole like birth thing.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of like defected babies, and I'm just like, that is
fucked up.
Fucked.
Yeah.
I was like, no fucking way. It was so fucked up. And they all had like the 666 symbol and like all around them.
Yeah, born that day, that month, that time, and I'm like, they really want this to work, don't they? Like when they restrain Margaret and Carlotta, and you see where the mark is, and you're like, for a while I was like, it can't really be Carlotta, right? Can't be her, because she might be weird like Damien, and you see the roof of her mouth, you're like, oh, I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the thing though. That's when we found out like there's a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
Like there's multiple. And then like they were going through the files and they're like, this is not Carlotta. In this photo, this is not Carlotta because the symbol is on her head.
Yeah.
Hers is on the roof of her mouth. Who the hell is this thing? And we get the realization that it's like, oh shit.
It's Margaret.
It's her.
Yeah.
It's Margaret.
They're like, what's on your head, Margaret? And you just see it, you're like, oh god. And like that's why the guy she was with is like, I didn't mean for this to happen. And then gets taken out mysteriously. And you're like, I feel sorry for him and Margaret because she's like, it's okay. And just pulls him apart.
I was like, oh my god. Just cut it in half. I was like, oh Jesus. By the way, one scene that scared the living shit out of me was when she was stuck in the room.
Oh yeah.
And then like you just hear something in like the corner, and it's the burnt nun. And I'm like,
yeah. The fact that it's not a quick jump scare is like, look at this, and you're like, I don't want to look at it. Look at it. I don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
I said, look at it. I'm sorry.
It gets closer slowly. I was like, such a good scene.
Yeah, Marguerite's scene when she breaks her water after the crash. I'm like, what is happening to her? What the fuck?
She was like having convulsions or something. Like she was like pretty much acting like a possessed person. What she was. That was a great scene in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is so cool, and like she's having like that like two-toned voice.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's terrifying when you're in the operating room and you see what might be behind the curtain. I'm like the fact that they don't really show it, you're just like I kind of want to see. At the same time, can you please stay back? I don't want to see you.
And then we get the whole realization that like the time when Margaret and like her friend like go out partying.
Yeah.
That was a time where she got like what do you call it? She got like I think drugged. And then that's when they inseminated the Satan seed kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like
through
her.
her.
That's not cool.
The from her view, you just see two glowing yellow eyes. I'm like, what's that supposed to be? Jesus.
Right?
But yeah, it is hard to watch the whole birthing of the Antichrist. You know, it's just like, fuck, it is so fucked.
Yeah.
And like she does get free, and she's holding the Antichrist hostage. Like this is a thing for the Omen every time.
By the way, it's twins.
Yeah.
There's the part where I'm like, Damien has a twin.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like if he's the Antichrist, is she like, you know, the light bringer? Then it'd be interesting if they make another sequel to this. You know,
they're just like Pokemons fighting each other.
Yeah. Like I have Damien, the Satan type. Then she's like, I have my daughter, the Jesus type. I don't know. But yeah, she's holding the Antichrist, the boy, hostage, and like she's about to kill him like the dad in the first one, and then her friend stabs her. I'm like, okay, I guess they really okay, sure, fucking bitch, fuck you then.
Yeah, but yeah, of course, I guess that was a no-brainer because that is Damien.
Yeah,
they're taking him to what was the name of the character again?
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah, where like he is a ambassador or something for Rome.
Yeah.
Or Italy. Yeah, so that's where they gotta go. And
I'm sorry, Robert.
She actually like,
but yeah, Robert.
Yeah, and she pretty much survives.
Yeah.
With the help of
Carlotta.
Carlotta.
Yeah.
We do get to see the monster behind the curtain.
Yeah, on fire. I'm like, oh, thank God it's not up close. Otherwise, I would freak the fuck out. But yeah, that confirms whatever the fuck that thing is supposed to be.
It is kind of odd though, because I really thought it was gonna be a bit more ethereal, a bit more like, oh, fire doesn't really affect this thing because it is
of hell,
of Satan.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, aren't you used to this kind of shit?
All right. That I thought that you were a hellspawn. Why are you burning up like this?
Yeah. But yeah, and then like they live like a pretty happy life in a cottage up in the mountains somewhere.
And then like, the priest tells her like, oh, by the way, your son has a name and it's Damien, and credits. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, that kind of like gives us a little bit of a cliffhanger of like, is there like another like Omen movie
coming up? I have no idea.
No. I mean like before this, or was it just the first? Like, was it just the Omen?
I know there's an Omen 2. I haven't seen it yet. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where we see like the whole connection maybe with the sister.
Maybe, perhaps.
I don't know. Maybe.
Be interesting. But yeah, it's just this is how you do. Again, this is a slow burn horror, but like there's so many scenes where like I don't want to see that. Like the first birthing scene when the thing comes out, I'm like, no, God, please. Like,
but yeah, but like I will say I do love it that it is a slow burn.
Yeah,
it didn't fixate on like, oh, jump scare after jump scare, scary. It's just unsettling all throughout the entire movie.
Yeah,
and I just felt really uncomfortable with the entire environment, even though like they reveal it like maybe a third of the way of the movie. You already can tell that like, hey, that like there is something up with this orphanage.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of like the entire way where it's just like, again, it's just creepy. I kind of like horror movies like this, and the fact that we also did Outside, which is somewhat the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's a slow burn, it mostly focused on like tension rather than jump scares. I don't know. I'm starting to lean towards that trend more.
Yeah, same here. Like I prefer it when horror like shows you like stuff that makes you just uncomfy. Like it really pays off at the end where you're like, because horror is not just blatant jump scares after jump scare. It's something that seeps into your mind when you're like, that's so fucked up. I can't quantify how fucked up that is. Because like something like, what's the name of the movie where the sister leans out and gets decapitated? But yeah,
God damn it. What was it again? Hereditary. There you go.
Hereditary. That's another slow type horror, where it's not.
Yeah, and like the scares are such a big payoff.
Yeah, it's slow. So by the time you get to Toni Collette like knocking her head on the door, you're like, I kind of don't want to watch anymore. But
yeah,
here those are good examples of how to do slow burn horror. This and Outside are good examples of slow burn horror done right. But yeah, what would you rate The First Omen?
Yeah, for The First Omen, it's a really good, like, somewhat like Phantom Menace prequel to the original, The Omen. I like how where everything starts, we get to see, like, hey, this is where Damien came from. This is the entire process of, like, why this, like, satanic child was put into the lap of, like, this poor family. And yeah, like again, as we said, it doesn't really rely on jump scares all that much. There's some jump scares here and there, but it's far in between.
Yeah.
And the parts where I'm really like unsettled the most. By the way, I watched this at night in the dark, and I just couldn't. I like immediately stopped it and just continued it in the morning. But pretty much, I would say I'll give it like a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay.
You know, it's still like a pretty like solid film. Does it live up to the first one? The first one's a little bit more action packed because he gets to travel from here to there.
Sure, that's your definition of action. Sure. I'll give.
You saw somebody like get like impaled with like pipes.
That's true.
In the first movie.
I'll give this an 8. I really do like the fact, like, again, I said this in The First Omen, like, I'm not terrified of, like, the Antichrist. It's not something that keeps me up. I get a good hug shnu, whether I watch a movie about it or not, you know? Like, but, like, the fact that I still was, like, I kind of feel like turning this movie off, but I had to watch this for this review. Like, especially, I'm still stuck with the first birthing scene where it just comes out, I'm like, can you explain that, church? What the fuck is that supposed to be?
I was like, is that a hallucination? Is that supposed to be like a message? Is it like is there a double meaning to this?
Is this the Catholic Church's way of being like, you have to use protection, otherwise, like what happens?
No, they yeah, maybe.
Or like take communion more. In which case I'm fucked because I haven't gone to church in ages. So
yeah,
you know,
same here.
something might come out of me. I'm kidding. No, God, I hope not.
Mazel tov.
But yeah, for this Christmas day, I think this is appropriate we talk about something involving the church and, you know, demonic spirits. I'm kidding. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, whoever's watching. But yeah, that's been our review for The First Omen. What's your favorite? Oh no, he froze. The demonic spirits got to him. I'm kidding. But yeah, what's your favorite? The possession type movie, whether it's this, The Exorcist, whatever it is, comment below.
I do have a recommendation, and I really wish we would do it.
Yeah.
Sometime soon, or maybe on next Halloween. But a slow burn movie that doesn't rely on jump scares, The Babadook.
Oh.
I've been meaning to watch it, but I never had a chance to. So,
all right.
Like hopefully we wait for this, like
next Halloween season. Yeah. To anyone in the church, is it true if you watch a video of an exorcism, you're not supposed to because you might get possessed? I've been told this.
Video. You're not supposed to be like in the vicinity.
Oh, so you can watch it and be like, that's fucked up. But as long as you're not in the room where it happens, you're fine.
Yeah, because like it can jump to you as they say.
Okay.
Which, like, believe it or not, I just don't want to know.
I don't take a chance.
I just don't want to be the chance of like the Russian roulette of like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I may be an atheist, but again, I don't to be like, you know what? I'll take a chance. Prove me wrong.
The man don't fuck around and find out.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I will still not believe, but I will still not be in the room when it happens, just to be safe. But yeah, to all of you watching, once again, Merry Christmas. I hope you have had a very blessed 2024, and hope you have a great start to 2025. We're not done yet, but like, it's Christmas Day, so enjoy it with your family, friends, wherever, however you celebrate it. But yeah, enjoy. But if you like what you see here, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. Yeah, I don't know, I almost choked. We're also on Spotify and TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. It's gotten to me. And Spotify to hear us on the go. Maybe you can see me. I'm kidding. I'll stop pushing my luck.
No.
In the video, I am Zodas Voices on TikTok and Answolf on Letterboxd. Where can I find you?
You can find me at JohnJoM_ on Instagram and Smarticon.
And until the next video, we'll see you then. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Merry Christmas. Ciao.